own mind, he probably does love her in a way we would consider particularly sick or twisted, but I think in his own mind, he does love her.
She felt like she was climbing the walls, which isn't a phrase that a kid would use, but that's what she's telling me. Like, she felt like she was almost trapped. She said she was trying to look for a way out.
I won't go into detail, but I would say you're hot.
Subscribe to Sticky Beat wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to Divided We Stand. I'm Victoria Lang. I'm here with Joe Aguirre and Rob from I'll Piss You Off Shortly, but you already probably knew that. This week, I'm excited, and I'm excited to share some news. I'm sure, like last week, you could kind of pick up on it. I kind of touched on it, but like we're expanding the show to not just politics, but just more social issues and stuff now. So if you were confused as to why we're talking about this kind of stuff more and more, I just feel like there's a lot more important stuff going on, especially in America right now. With COVID going away, everybody's able to get their vaccine pretty much right now. It seems like we're doing pretty good. And I just want to take a break, at least for now, from talking about the hardcore politics stuff. And I'm sure that everybody's kind of sick of hearing about it by now. We've been doing this for like a year. I cannot talk about Corona anymore. Not for one more episode.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's time to get away from it. Like I don't, and it seems really like at the point it's a touchy situation, and it seems like it's more about the vaccine versus the actual virus. So it's kind of beat the dead horse, if that's not like a bad term.
I got my vaccine. I got the one and done Johnson & Johnson, and my bones still kind of hurt, but I feel a lot better than the day I got it. I can tell you that. You got to get it. I mean, it sucks. A lot of people are having some minimal side effects, but it's better than dying.
Right. I think that's a good thing. We're going to look at Rob, but we're not going to say anything.
Yeah.
You know? But this episode, I want to start off by talking about Dr. Phil and Danielle Bregoli. And I think that they're building a case against. Yes, that's what everybody would pretty much know that her from, is being the Catch Me Outside girl on Dr. Phil. I'm sure everybody saw that. Everybody familiar? Joe, you saw it?
Got it
now.
I gotta actually be kind of neutral in this. I have a connection that I probably got to stay silent about this one. Yeah.
So basically, Rob knows Bad Baby.
No, I don't know her, but it would behoove me to keep quiet.
Wow, this is some tea that is getting spilled live as we speak. Whatever. Okay, Rob, go on.
No, seriously,
go on with your bad self. But anyways, so I think that she's like building a case against Turnabout Ranch, and if you guys don't know, that's where Dr. Phil has not only sent her, but a couple other kids. It's basically like a rehabilitation center for troubled teens. And Dr. Phil admitted on the show that the reason that she is the way she is because of the environment she grew up in. Obviously, her and her mom did not have a good relationship. That was displayed on the show. But some of the things that she talked about that happened at this ranch were absolutely awful. Her videos are up on YouTube, and she does a really good job explaining it. In the first one, she was very composed. She kept her cool, and she kind of just talked about it. She explained things like how people wouldn't let her change her underwear, her socks, so she would get really bad infections, athlete's foot and stuff like that. They would sleep deprive her, wouldn't let her eat. She also witnessed a sexual assault, and when she tried to report it, she got in trouble. She also, the biggest thing that I find it's actually incredible that this place is still open and that Dr. Phil is still promoting it. There was 2 deaths in her time of her being there.
I have gotten hundreds and thousands.
Yeah, this is her video.
And all type of stuff of multiple kids wanting to stories. It just shows me, like, you know, I'm not the only one that went through these kind of things.
So basically,
I just want to keep conversation.
I'm trying to bring this thing up. It's here we go. And then I stopped it.
Word of mouth to travel so that everyone who has.
so this is her second video on it, and this is where she talks about how Dr. Phil responded to her. And obviously, he did not give the response that anybody was looking for. And that's kind of why I wanted to show this and talk about it. This is the Philip interview.
In an interview about the video, and he responded.
So Phil, I'm reading the New York Post this weekend. I open up this.
Can you hear this,
story
Victoria?
about
Yeah.
a teen
Yes,
rapper
okay.
named Bad Bobby.
So first of all, she goes on there calling me by the wrong name. Bitch, your kids probably listen to me. Your kids probably know who I am. Your husband probably knows who I am. So why are you acting like you don't know who I am?
Gucci
Once again, Danielle
flip-flops.
has brought
Like,
steam
the-
to somebody's talk show, which she
Stop.
has never
Exactly.
before. Anyways,
Her mom brought her on the show to say I can't handle her anymore. So here's that moment off the show.
and all these hoes laughing like so funny.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yeah. Why would this be the only clip you show of me? Why don't you show me being nominated for a Billboard award? Why don't you show me having multiple gold and platinum plaques? Why don't you show me being youngest female rapper to hit Billboard? Why don't you show stuff like that?
So the audience are about
Shout out to those
Yeah.
accomplishments. Shout out to
Catch me
those
on song about
accomplishments.
that. You know the shit I was hearing in the crowd? So for you to tell me I can't say something back to people who are saying something to me? Second of all, the fucking lady who runs the show
So,
said, oh, if you get when you get up there, do whatever
This
you feel
whole
like. But we'll
video
make it
kind of just
show.
recaps
Extreme
how
punch.
Dr. Phil just takes absolutely
How
no
am I gonna fucking-
responsibility for anything that happened to her. As you can see, like, she's getting really agitated in the video. This is like the first thing that she's responded to, and she's already freaking out because he kind of goes on and discredits her. He also says that if something really happened, then why didn't she file a lawsuit 5 years ago when it happened? And she was 13 at the time. So it's just like, how do you expect a kid to do all that kind of stuff? So you can understand her rage. But the question that I wanted to ask is, do you think that, number one, Dr. Phil is at full fault for this? Or do you think that her parents have some kind of play in it? Because they also signed a release form stating that camera crews could be in there and stuff like that, documenting her rehabilitation, which I find is kind of odd, because if you actually wanted to get help for this girl, then you wouldn't have a bunch of camera crews in there all up in her face and stuff like that. How can you also say that you didn't know what was going on if everything is documented? And he kind of just discredits her, and it's really awful stuff. He also still has all of the ranch stuff posted on his website and his Facebook page. So there is a question if he has some kind of financial interest in it, maybe. What do you guys think?
Joe, it's on you. I told you. I'll speak on it this way. If Dr. Phil, if there's nastiness going on at that ranch, then definitely there needs to be an investigation. There needs to be something going on, right? Because we're in a society, especially now, where everybody says, you know, believe women, and we should, right? So if there's been those kind of allegations, look at the Olympic girls, the gymnastics, right? The gymnasts. So yeah, definitely not this, you know what I mean? Just because Dr. Phil has a $1 million or this multi-million-dollar production doesn't mean that he can't be a nasty guy. You know what I mean? Right. The way they sometimes, you know, fit us in descriptions, he kind of fits the description.
Can we all agree that Dr. Phil isn't really a doctor?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Let's say that first. He's
He
really
has
not a
a
doctor. Legally,
doctorate.
like, definitely not a doctor.
He has a doctorate. He
Yeah,
does.
well, Captain Crunch
have-
has a hat. He's not really a captain. You know what I mean?
Well,
He does have a doctorate in clinical psychology, and I believe
Oh, he
that
does?
he did
Okay.
get it in 76 or something like that, and it has not been renewed since. And he is
Okay.
not a practicing psychologist. He's literally just Dr. Phil. So
Okay.
he does have the credentials, but he's not a practicing doctor. By him.
okay, yeah. I just want to say, I want to clarify that if you are a practicing, you know, psychologist, yeah, I give you your doctor, but I didn't know that he actually had that. So I guess if he earned it, technically he's a doctor. But you know what I'm saying?
Julius Irving also has a doctorate.
In what? Just out of
It's an
curiosity.
honorary doctorate from.
See, honorary doctor is
Doesn't
different.
matter.
Fucking Shaq has
Doctor's a doctor.
no,
Dr. Shaq.
No, we're not. All right.
Well, my other question was, do you think that she should have even been brought on to the Dr. Phil show in the first place? And I know that she has a lot of accolades, a lot of success now, obviously, but I don't think that her being 13, 14 when she was on that show, first of all, most of the minors that are on Dr. Phil only have like their bottom half shown, like their face blurred out, or they'll have their voice changed or something. I don't understand why she was an exception to that. I just don't understand how this ever went by.
The show is about exploitation. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And Danielle, what is it? Brigoli?
Brigoli.
No, she's Italian. It's Brigoli, but whatever. Cash Me Outside girl went in there with an agenda. I mean, first of all, no human being acts like that. You gotta like, that's like an effort. I mean, again, when you were like Danielle Brigoli, I was like, I don't know who that is. And you were like, Catch Me Outside girl. Like, I know that girl. Yeah. I didn't even know she had a name. I remember watching that and I assumed like she was in on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody was taking advantage of her. I think she saw it as an opportunity. So I don't blame her.
Well, obviously, I don't even think that's a question. She's a child.
So I'm not suggesting to blame her, but her and her mom, they knew what was happening, and Dr. Phil knew what was happening. And I think you might have said it or alluded to it that he certainly knows what's going on at the ranch.
Mm-hmm.
If Sandra Arroyo Sanchez knows what's happening at the ranch, I have to assume so does Dr. Phil.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I just feel like it's so ridiculous. Also, there is cases out in the open that you can Google right now. And she also talked about it while she was there. She witnessed 2 deaths. Somebody tried to steal a car and died in the process of doing it, trying to escape this ranch. And one of the aides that was trying to stop them got such severe injuries that they ended up dying a couple years later. So that is still processing. And the fact that this has not gotten shut down, Dr. Phil is still promoting it to like this very second, it's still up on his website, it's insane to me.
This is crazy. This feels like the Tiger Ranch, but like with safety kids. Like there could be a Netflix series on this.
And I think that there will be. That's what I think is really
Netflix, Lifetime. Y'all broke down all that R. Kelly and everything else stuff. Like, investigate this.
Fair. But here's the other thing. I mean, so this girl's gone on and apparently had some sort of platinum album.
Yeah. Good.
Yo, that album was fire.
Wow. Don't discredit
Shout out
Danielle
to Atlantic Records.
Shout out to Danielle.
Fire.
No doubt.
Go catch both of those, all those projects. Go listen to all of them.
No doubt. She seems like she would be very. Was she rap or she sang?
Oh,
Gucci flip flops in my socks. Yo, fire.
Diamonds dripping off the clock. I could do a whole performance for you right now.
Yo.
So is it possible that the problem here is people like you guys that are eating this thing up? Look, here's the thing about these
Bad Baby is it.
These influencers, these and you're seeing more and more of this, right? I mean, she's not a legit musician. And I don't mean that. I mean, you're a legit musician if you have a record contract.
And she does.
No,
she does.
I mean,
she does.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Granted, yes. But most people who get record contracts are musicians who perform regularly. And then they get a record contract after years of hard work, not after being on an episode of Dr. Phil and being like, catch me outside, motherfucker.
All I know is
like,
hi,
what?
bitch, Gucci flip flops. Go listen to those. Shout out to Atlantic Records.
Well, that was going to be my next point because that's why I wanted to kind of talk about, do you think she should have been on the show at all? But I also do think even if it weren't for the show, that she would probably be in the same position as she is right now. You know what I mean? No. Yeah, maybe not the same position, but I think that she would be successful.
Shout out to her team. Amazing to get her to that success. I mean, let's talk about it though. Like, to be able, like, is it really her or was it her team that really like elevated her? Like, to be able to monopolize off of that. to be able to.
Well,
I
she
mean,
can perform.
make
I
some-
mean,
yeah,
you couldn't just
she
take
made
some
some
random
hits.
girl
Let-
off the
let-
street and be like, "You're bad baby." You know
and that's
what
what I'm saying. Let's
But
not
she
disregard.
also-
She
she
made
was
some hits. Her team was
performing-
able to really
She was
bring her up to that
performing
level.
on Dr. Phil. That she wanted
Yeah,
to be
she performed.
noticed, and that was all part of her persona. And she was like, "I can rap," and somebody was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Great. And I'm not saying, I'm not doubting them, because I don't know the music. If you guys say it's good, then I'll take your word for it. I don't know. Maybe
I'm saying it's good.
Is it possible my kids have played that for me? Probably.
Um,
I'm sure I've heard it. I would probably
maybe,
know it if
especially two older ones.
I would.
For
That's what I'm
sure.
saying. I would think. I'm sure I probably know it, but
If you haven't, go listen to it like 1,000 times.
But again, it's like that's beside the point here. You know, look, at the end of the day, you could argue, look, this was great for her. It launched her a career. And so, yeah, you know, the record company, Dr. Phil, the production company behind Dr. Phil, Oprah, I'm sure has her hand in that too, because she, if I'm not mistaken, is the overlord to Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
Am I right?
She is.
So she's getting a little cut of the action. I'm sure many people are. And Victoria, I think this show in general is about just the overall exploitation of young women in this country, which I find appalling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a culture. And it's a culture that, you know, just a couple months ago, we were laughing about it. But the idea that what's the bunny from Space Jam?
Lola Bunny?
Lola Bunny. She's not hot anymore. I'm sorry.
Who's going to
upset
represent
by
me?
that?
Like, you know what
I
I'm
wouldn't
saying?
even
How
have-
am I going to watch TV and be like,
If it wasn't pointed out that she doesn't have curves and boobs, I wouldn't have noticed. I wouldn't have been like, wait a minute. It's not the Lola Bunny I was expecting. Like, what are you, a sicko? What's wrong
well,
with you?
now
I guess
that
I'm a
we're-
sicko because I noticed that, but like when I was young, when Space Jam came up, and I thought Lola Bunny was hot, and I was like, what happened to Lola? Like I'm pretty sure Kim Kardashian saw Lola Bunny and was like, I need to look like that, and that's what started like the whole craze. It was
True.
Lola Bunny,
She is an icon.
and it's not even like it was just, I don't know. I feel you though. It shouldn't be sexualized, and it shouldn't be a big deal. I do agree with that. It shouldn't be a big deal. But I notice it? Yes. When I saw the commercial, I was like, Lola doesn't look the same, and it's a visual thing.
I lived and went through the Britney Spears thing. It was when I literally had just gotten into the radio business. I had a chance to meet Britney Spears and go backstage and see all.
You
Yeah, I
met
know.
Britney.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, she's crying on what? How are you crying through like third person connection? Oh my! This is what Britney does to y'all.
Shook. Look at how red my face is right now. I'm like, Joe, my Britney.
So I've never been like one-on-one with like a Britney, like it's Britney bitch fan.
Oh my
like,
God,
holy
look at
crap.
me right now.
Look at her.
I've known this.
Holy
Victoria, I've known you for like 2
I'm
years, right? Have I
crying.
never told you that story?
No, what? Does it
I've
look
never
like
seen
you
somebody
told me?
do this over Britney.
Well, I'll give you one better. I go backstage to meet Britney, and guess who was there?
Who?
Justin Timberlake and Janet
Canceled.
Jackson.
Oh, you met Janet?
Yeah, Janet. Janet was there too. Yeah, no, it was.
my God.
She was my first concert ever with Usher.
But again, I noticed that around Britney, it was all 45-year-old men.
That's nasty.
Yeah,
That's
like you
gross.
just get like a weird sense, like of like a pimp kind of situation.
That's nasty. That's big gross.
Jessica Simpson, right along that same time, same thing. Just grown men everywhere around this girl, like picking out her outfits, and you're like,
Oh, so not even like security, just
no, I'm
like,
talking like managers, promoters. It's all dudes. It's all grown men. Literally, like telling her what to wear and how to shake her hips, and at what point to like jostle her hips, and just that's what it is. And it's exploitation at its finest. I'll give you one better. This won't get a reaction out of anybody who's not a hillbilly. But Leanne Rimes was, I think, 13 when she came out. And this was in like the late 90s.
Mhm.
The internet was new, but they had like a clock for when she turned 18.
And this goes even back. That's gross because
Yes.
didn't Bad Baby, she just made her OnlyFans?
Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to talk about right now. And I, bigger than that, wanted to talk about society's fixation on young girls and what the hell that's about. Because I do not think that Bad Baby or Danielle or whatever the hell you want to call her is in the wrong at all for doing this. I think that she did what she was influenced to do. I don't think that she made any, like, I don't think she made, I'm not going to say I don't think she made like a bad decision, but in her own head, I completely see how she rationalized that. And I don't think that she, if anybody, is at fault for that. With that being said, I do find it absolutely disgusting. And yes, Priscilla was underage when they got married, and it was absolutely disgusting. And that was an entire groomer situation.
Comment on that. Not only was she actually was of age when they got married, but they had been dating for like 4 years at that point. Like it was bad. Jerry Lee Lewis did Elvis one better. He also was with a 14-year-old, but she was his cousin.
And let's not forget about Diddy.
We also can't forget about Harvey Weinstein, who married his daughter.
It's
crazy.
nasty.
You didn't know about that, Joe?
What?
You didn't
Hold
know about
on.
that?
You said Harvey Weinstein.
Was it not
married
Harvey
his-
Weinstein? Yeah, he literally didn't he marry his daughter?
I gotta go to my boy G for this.
I'm just saying. I
Jump
think
on the Googs on that.
somebody correct me, but I'm pretty sure he literally like
No,
married
that
his
was
daughter.
That guy's
what's his name?
that guy's in serious trouble. But let's
No,
just verify
who's the
that.
tool guy?
the tool guy.
The guy.
Tim
Who
Allen?
like
Yeah.
adopted a bunch of kids and then like married
Tim
one
Allen.
of them.
Isn't it Tim Allen? That's the nasty fort. He married his stepdaughter, or is it Woody Allen?
Woody
Woody
Allen.
Allen.
Woody
Woody
Allen.
Allen.
Woody Allen, yes,
Woody
it was Woody Allen. Yeah,
Is that who you're talking about? Woody
Yep.
Allen?
Yeah,
Sometimes-
Woody Allen.
Yeah.
No,
Harvey
no,
Weinstein.
Sorry, Tim Allen.
Harvey
I'm sorry.
Weinstein
Freaking
is
creeps are
disgusting.
creeps. What are you gonna do?
But yeah, okay. He didn't marry his daughter.
Woody Allen. Yeah, where is Woody Allen?
Yeah, who knows? But anyways, the biggest picture out of this is within 6 hours, homie made $1 million. She broke an OnlyFans record, and she made this days after turning 18. And if you go
it
on
was
there,
6 hours. Or was it? It was like 6
I
hours.
think
that
she was like planning on it, and she announced it, but it ended up coming out 2 days after she turned 18.
But it's nasty because think of all those grown ass men that were waiting for this.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying. And all the
plotting.
Instagram comments that are like, "Oh my god, I cannot wait until she turns 18." From the second that she got off the Dr. Phil show, people were like, "Oh my god, I cannot wait until she turns 18." It's insane.
Man,
And how is this fine?
I feel like there's something right about me because, right? So my wife and I have been married for 10 years. I'm 45.
Mhm.
And for years she would joke like, "I will kill you if you run off with some 18-year-old." And like after a while I was like, why is it 18? Like, what do you think I am? Right. So she started saying 21. And like the last few years, the joke is she'd be 32 and have a house. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be some child
24 and need me to pay for an apartment.
Right?
No,
Right.
I got a
Okay.
20-year-old daughter. I don't even like her that much. Why would I want to date someone like that?
my
So annoying.
But Pete, let's flip it. I like to play devil's advocate sometimes, and it's not going anywhere crazy. But think about the 45-year-old that dates the 35-year-old. That's when you look at it in that aspect, it's not bad.
No. Right.
Well, no, but
Well,
it would be
when
different
does
if
that-
Danielle was 35, but she's not.
But yeah, so
what
when
it
does that
is-
kind of like cater, right? So when is it okay? Is it like 30 and 40, maybe
Like the age
25,
gap?
35? Like when is that 10-year, maybe 15-year
I'll tell
age
you
gap
right
kind of
now.
like
I will straight up tell you right now. After the girl or whoever, the person that is
18, of
younger is 25. I
25?
say
Okay.
25, at least 25. Because what do you want to do with somebody who is under 25? What can they provide you? And they also do not have the same life experience anything, because I will tell you straight up right now, I am under 25. I'm under 21. So every single year I look back on myself and I am like embarrassed. I'm like, what the hell was that? Like, I look different every 5 minutes. I can't, like, it's so crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot imagine somebody who is 10, 15 years older than me. Like, why would they want anything to
what
do
is
with
there,
me?
right?
You know what I mean?
There's no connection. There's, first of all, like you said, no life
Right.
experience, right? There's no connection. There's, what do you, even myself being 33, almost 34, I think about, first of all, who I was at 24, 25, totally different person. So then I think about like what came with 24, 25-year-olds, or even like 23-year-olds. That was a headache. Like, there's nothing that you can provide me outside of, let's be honest, sex.
Well, that's
that, like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
So
That
this comes down to how young do you like your women? Like, what's you know what I mean? And to me, again, right? I think at some age, right? You're like, I think when I hit 30, like, you know, anybody under 21 was out the window.
Out the window,
There
yeah.
was no, I mean, again, and I think I was single when I was 30. I had just gotten divorced. Again, I wasn't looking for like a child to poke. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? Ew. Like, looking for like a legitimate person. I get into my 30s. I mean, again, like, you know.
Now I have a question though.
It just, to me, in your mind, I would think that ideal woman should be older, should be closer to your age.
Now, what do we say about, which is very true, but what do we say now? Like, I remember when growing up, I couldn't even date, like, trying to find a girl my age to date, like 15, 16 years old. It was impossible because they were all dating the 20, 21-year-olds. Matter of fact, I remember, and you know, because I'm sure y'all promoted it on the radio and everything like that before, but like the clubs were 21 for men, 18 for women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At one point. And then so like all the girls in high school, they were going to the club because they could get in, and their boyfriends were 20, 21, 25 sometimes. And you're like,
well, I feel like that's
here?
the biggest thing that doesn't necessarily get talked about, because I think that we're all sitting here at home thinking that it's a bunch of like old, creepy 80-year-old men online, like looking at Danielle. But in all reality, it's 20, even people that are 28, 27, 29. It's like, what do you want to do with somebody who looked this, like Danielle Bergoli looked the same when she was 18 or 2 days after she turned 18 as she did 2 days before?
Yeah,
you know
she
what
didn't
I'm
just
saying?
flip a switch and like everything changed.
Like, what is up with that? And I will say, especially being in my experience, I'm a 19-year-old girl. I have been in relationships with several guys in their 20s, and then when you look back on it, you're like, what? Because I do acknowledge that like most of the girls my age don't have like these kind of conversations because they think it's like normal. They think it's the cool thing to do. And that's why I really wanted to talk about this, is because I want to know why it's almost become so normalized to do this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, who told her that?
I don't know why it has, because literally since the 80s, there's been like a counter movement to the exploitation of women.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't worked for whatever reason. It's one of those things where, again, I just think that there's a lot of deviant-minded people.
Can we have a moment of transparency and it's safe space for me? Right,
let's do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So bet I hate Instagram now, right? And I'm all for like women empowerment and everything else like that. Like, you should be able to, like, I'm pro, like, be how you want with your body, as long as you're 18 years old, however you want, like, as long as you're an adult, cool, right? But for me, growing up in a male chauvinistic area in the 90s with like, I would steal like my dad's porno mags or like my brother's little magazines and shit like that. So growing up in the Instagram era where like grown adult women were becoming Instagram models, it was cool. But that was like 10 years ago. Now you go to a model page or you admire, and I don't want to sound like a chauvinistic fucking pig but I know women do the same thing. They follow hot dudes that they find attractive and stuff like that, right? But now you can't even follow a girl on Instagram if you're over 30 because they're what? 18, 19-year-old, and it says it in your bio, 16. And you're like, why? Or even if you don't, or like I've done that twice. This is why I've stopped. Like, if I don't know you, I don't follow you, period. Because like you follow somebody, you're like, oh, she looks kind of attractive. And I'm in a relationship too at this point, right? My single days. But you would be like, follow. And then you're looking, they're like, 19th birthday photo. And they're like, they got the 19 balloons. You're like, whoa, you looked 26 in your photos. Nothing gave me 19 vibes. So it's just like, even and I don't want it to seem like an excuse because I don't want to seem like, but it's just me as a 30-plus-year-old man. It's like outside of family and friends, Instagram is not the space for me. Like outside, but you have to know those realms, right?
I
like
think
you just gotta kind of
has to be more about not necessarily what the young girls and what the minors are posting and like the 19-year-olds and stuff, but their parents and why they allow that kind of stuff to go up on their social media, the kind of media that they intake to make them feel that that was okay to do it. And also like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like rather than holding the blame on like the younger girls who may be posting like scandalous pictures or like looking older and stuff like that, like rather than being like, they shouldn't post that kind of stuff anymore, be like, why has the culture shifted where this is where this is a thing? You know what I mean?
I mean, and that's where I don't want to seem like I'm shaming them. Post all you want, honey. That's just not my space anymore. Like that, you know what I mean? Just like the club isn't my space anymore. And you know what I'm saying? It's just, I understand that this is, they can, for me, right? I don't have a daughter, but I could only think like if I was scrolling through Instagram and like on the explore page, my daughter came up in a Savage Fenty outfit as a Savage ambassador, I would probably just drop my phone. You know what I mean? Like if she was like 16, 17,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like at the point, if you're 18, as long as you're being, I don't know, it's tough. I don't have a daughter, but you have a daughter. But like in my mind, I don't want to be around it. That's not my space anymore. That's for the young folks. I was young 10 years ago. But then at the same time, like, I don't want my daughter feeling the need to have to do that for the following. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough.
I feel like that's really what it comes down to is like the girls feel the need to do it rather than like the want. When it comes to like a certain age, like, you know what I mean? I feel like when people get older, they like reach a point where they're like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that like I look back on, all my social media accounts have been completely cleared out from when I was on when I was in high school. But like some of the stuff that I used to post, I was like, no, like let's not do that. But like for some reason, I thought that was okay in the time. You know what I mean?
Well, that's immaturity. I mean, and as you get older, you get more mature, and your taste is supposed to get better and more appropriate.
I'm just trying to get
I don't just mean that with women. I mean even with wine. You know, when you get to be older, if you're still drinking Merlot, you're doing it wrong. You know, you got to grow up. You gotta improve your palate. Your tastes in life should all age gracefully as you do. Again, I've always found, and especially working in the radio business for so long, you see it over and over again, where women are exploited. And sometimes it's young women, sometimes it's old women. And then guess what? You hit like 35 and you're out. You know what I mean? They just cut you out. Unless you're Britney or you're Madonna, you're out. There's no.
Just go to OnlyFans. That's it.
Well, I suppose we could talk about that a little bit too, right? I mean, what is that nonsense? I mean,
so if anybody,
why are women doing that? Why are women okay with that? And why?
Well,
I like it.
I will answer you that right now. Some women and some people feel like they don't have the choice and it is their best source of income that they could possibly get. I would tell you right now, if I made an OnlyFans, I guarantee you I would not be struggling financially anymore.
Well,
Like,
you
you know
probably
what I
make
mean?
bank
Right. But like
just because of the narrative, and obviously people love just going off of them. Anyways.
but you know what I'm saying? But the question is, I totally can understand, like, I don't even have like a thought in my mind as to why people, like regular people, like middle class citizens or lower middle class citizens, making OnlyFans to support themselves. But what I have the question with is, why is Danielle Bregoli making an OnlyFans to make $1 million when she already has millions of dollars? Why is that a bridge that she chose to cross? I don't understand that. And I don't understand why the people around her are like, yeah, that's okay, because she has so many people around her. Why has nobody stepped in? Because I know that she does not have the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? I just really don't understand that, because once again, I do not hold her to any kind of like standard when it comes to that kind of stuff, because it's like, obviously that's the move that she would make with all these outside influences. I just don't understand why her mom is like, yeah, Danielle, go get that $1 million. Like, why does nobody see a problem?
Can I play devil's advocate again? Why
Mhm.
not? If there's gonna be dudes that want to give you $1 million, and because from what I understand, there's a lot of women. Yes, you have the sex worker side of OnlyFans where it's like Pornhub ×2, right?
Mhm.
Then you have like the toe fetish people, and then you just have like, it's pretty much expanded. You have the men's side, the women's side. So I don't even know what she was posting on her OnlyFans. Was it just like,
She's claimed that it was going to be more than she shows on her Instagram, and she posts a lot on her Instagram. I will say that.
see, I don't follow her Instagram. I actually stopped following her Instagram because like I felt awkward, even though it was for a certain instance, for certain situation. I was like, nah, I can't, because this is awkward, right? So you're just like, yeah, nah. So depending on what she's posting, she's 18, she's an adult. It's nasty that these people are like signing up, especially like anybody that's above the age of 25, maybe 28. I'll give you that. Maybe a 3-year plus or minus.
I don't want to beat last week's drum about religion, but Jared, I thought, brought up a solid point in the comments. You know, we also have a weird thing about male and female genitals in this country. And there's a whole repressed society of religious people who are freaking out and weird about, I mean, religion in general is treats women as less, you know, coming from and subordinate to men. That doesn't help. That sort of doesn't help at all. You know, like as if it's somehow mandated by God. So yeah, I mean, that's another thing that struck me for a long time about the society that we live in is how weird people are about sex, how weird people are about what you can see and what's being covered and what they think should be covered. And I think people should mind their fucking business. You know, worry about yourself and your own stuff, and, you know, stop peeping at the kids. That's weird. You know, dude, I mean, to me, if you're like peeping on a 16-year-old, you might as well be peeping on an 8-year-old, you fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? At what point do you decide, well, I'm a little younger? So no, I don't like it. You know, again, if you're over 21 and you're looking at anybody who hasn't hit the 2-0 mark, there's something fucking wrong with you.
And
I mean, either you're a grown man or you're like a weird pedo. It like at 21, dude, it's time to like, you can't be dating like a 15-year-old. There's something really sick and twisted about that. And, you know, I think more and more in this country, and I've read a lot of garbage, you know, right-wing propaganda about people on the left being like, you know, more willing to, appease pedophiles and have, you know, man on boy relationships. That, you know, you hear them, they talked about it a lot during the election, that's what the liberals stand for. And you know, I think it all stemmed from a singular TED talk that one lunatic lady gave. And that became like, well, that's what liberals want. I'm like, come on, you repressed freaking weirdos, man. Like, let it go. But again, this weirdness, I'm glad you brought this up tonight. I actually wanted to suggest to you the topic of date rape. And just, you know, in general. And again, that's sort of where women are put in a position, Victoria, you know, where you know, you feel like you got to do certain things on dates or whatever. Like there's some weird expectation and right. But who's teaching that? Like Jared said, you got to teach your boys how to be men and to be respectful of women and not to be weird about their female parts or their menstruation period. You know, that's something that freaks people out.
True. But I'm so glad that you actually brought up that point about date rape, because it kind of brings me into my next topic. Not completely, but sort of, because I wanted to talk about like why celebrities don't get held accountable for things, because there's another big story that came out. I don't know if either of you are familiar with the YouTuber David Dobrik. He makes vlogs. Rob knows who he is. I figured that Rob would know who he was.
As soon as you sent the article, I read it. He looks like a loser. It seems like he's got a lot of issues, Dramageddon and all that.
No. That's a different story.
Oh, whatever.
So, that's a different guy. But this guy, this David Dobrik or whatever, he has millions of followers or whatever. And recently an article came out because the same thing happened. He made vlogs and he has like all of his different friends and stuff. One of his friends posted on his Snapchat story, like, oh, I need like a bunch of girls 18 plus to come over to have a fivesome with me. Eventually the girls came over to the apartment. When they got there, they were like, ha ha ha, we just wanted to be in the video. Like none of us want to hook up with you. All of them were under 21, by the way. So then David goes, get them alcohol because we need to loosen up so they'll have sex with Dom for the video. And then they did it and they got all of it on camera. Everybody else in the vlog squad or whatever was peeking their heads in while these girls were hammered having sex with this guy. He was laughing, having a great time. But apparently these girls were passed out on the bed. It was absolutely awful. They had no idea where they were or that they did it the next day. And now there's all this stuff coming out about it. But it's like, David still has a platform and he has taken accountability, but it has taken months and so many people, him losing sponsorships. Like he didn't say anything until like his Chipotle sponsorship got dropped. You know what I mean? So it's like, why are we not holding guys in general, but especially these people in the spotlight? It's like he went years after this incident happening with going scotch-free, and it's just until now. He literally set up 5 girls to get raped. You know what I mean? It's just not cool. But also, it kind of brings me into a lot of girls, and like same thing with this, they're getting discredited for it right now for not coming out right when it happened. But a lot of the times, if it's not like a, dare I say this, but like a violent rape, people, it doesn't register in your mind as that maybe until after, maybe until you realize that trauma. And a lot of the times that kind of behavior and literal sexual assault gets brushed off as just guys being guys. And I feel like that's a big conversation that needs to be had. Assault isn't just like punching a girl in the face or like roofing her and making something happen. It's could be that as well, you know?
Yes, and that's very much so. That's rape. And like Jessica said, like that's not taking accountability just by admitting it. No, that's you. It's way more than just admitting and saying, "Oh, I did it. I'm sorry." You owe a lot more than just an apology. Like that's nasty. That first of all, you're supplying liquor to underage to minors, right? Because they're not of the age of 21. Either and you're using your celebrities as you trick them into coming, thinking you're doing something else.
Power.
There's a whole dominance power thing. Like, so like why is it taking this long? Because this happened what, a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think it happened. The original incident happened 2 or 3 years ago, and she did come out. She texted the guy who actually did the act and
Mhm.
said, you know, can you please text David and like make sure that he deletes this video? Like, I don't want my face in it. Like, this is ruining career opportunities for me. And I feel absolutely traumatized. I don't remember this happening. And all he said was, okay. And David is the one who posted the video saying that he was sorry, whatever, after months and only after his sponsorships dropping him. But this Dom guy is still posting TikToks like nothing happened. And he's the one that was in the room who did the act. And he's still posting like nothing happened. He has a platform. He's getting monetization from YouTube and TikTok. Why is that allowed?
I mean, well, people are still supporting it. So where's the accountability to them? Like, who are these people that are still supporting them? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are these people that are still watching these videos? Who are these people that are still buying merch and doing all these things, sharing and all that? You got to look at these people as well.
Well, I feel like those are the guys that are just like, oh, it's just a David being David, just guys being guys. I feel like it's that mentality. Exactly.
Sure, there's a lot of
the
that.
root of the problem.
Well, you know the story of Brock Turner, the swimmer from Stanford.
Yep.
You know, he made a mistake, man. We can't ruin his kid's life. I mean, geez, he's a good swimmer. Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of dismissive, because again, right, and here's the worst part of that wasn't even like a date rape. Like, that was like a legit full-on rape.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that kid he might as well have had a mask on. Like, he was out there with that. That wasn't like some sort of he
that
said
could have been debated.
He was out cold. I mean, what is, again, like, rape is bad. And I think sometimes people try to find like what degree, and I don't mean like first degree. I mean, like, literally, like, well, you know, it was
kind of bad,
but you know, that's how he is. Hey, you know, you're fine. Like, no, you know, because it does it when somebody gets away or is aggressive like that, it's just gonna get worse. It's always gonna accelerate. It's always gonna. Once you get away with a little bit, you're like, oh, yeah, boom. And I'll say this, to me, like, I can't believe in the last 4 years we've had to have conversations about consent. If you have to ply women, or what was the term? Loosen them up.
Get them loosened up. That's what he said. That was a direct quote from David.
No, if she's not feeling it and you know it, all the liquor in the world ain't gonna change your mind.
Right.
And so if something happens, how did you get there? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't feel good about that.
It's not consent if you have to loosen her up.
Right. You can't feel good. If I have to trick you into it, what are we doing? Again, to me, it takes somebody who's a bit sociopathic to sort of find the game in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll just lie to her and I'll get her drunk and tell her nothing's going to happen. And then as soon as she's out, bam, like there's something seriously twisted about people that are like that. But just like with racists before the election of 2016, there's a lot more of them than I thought there were. And to see people out there like defending it, you know, that idea of like when women speak, believe them. And there's a lot of guys that are like, well, wait a minute, you know, what was she wearing though?
Right.
Like that sort of nonsense. But again, Victoria, that's a conversation that we've been having in this country, like the earlier question, for 20 some odd years. Mm-hmm. And there's little to no change. And when you have somebody like Betsy DeVos running the Department of Education for 4 years and roll back protections for women on campuses because these young men need their due process. I don't want to be in class with my rapist. Where's the due process for me?
Right.
Sure.
You know, as a woman, where's my due process? That young lady that was at Rolling Stone a few years back that was carrying her mattress to class every day to raise awareness for the fact that her rapist was still on campus. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't. Again, here's the thing. If it was your daughter, your wife, your sister, you would react much differently than when it's just some hoe you don't know. That's basically what it comes down to. It's easy. It's easy when you don't know the person to chalk them up as some kind of loser deserving of it, put themselves in that predicament, whatever the case. because we always like to make excuses for people, especially people in the elevated circles, from actual entertainers to influencers to whomever. People can, but again, the other problem is we live in a country where if you have money, the law doesn't apply to you because you can buy your way out of it.
True.
And so,
well, yeah.
That could be a whole other show.
True. But lastly, I kind of just wanted to touch on James Charles. I don't know if everybody knows who that is, but he is a makeup influencer, and he is also
he's Dramageddon.
He's Dramageddon, baby. That's Dramageddon. He's your favorite sister. Are you familiar with Hi Sisters?
Yes.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Loves it. So basically right now he's getting caught. It's come out within the past week. Actually, since he posted a video saying that he's taking accountability, this was also his form of taking accountability. He has several accusations against him. It is, I think, up to 20 now. It might even be more than that, of his fans saying that he is sexually harassing them, texting them, sending them inappropriate pictures, and basically not leaving them alone. And 10 of them are minors, young as 14. So James is 21 years old. I don't know why he would have any business or want to talk to a 14-year-old. The biggest thing about this story is almost everybody that he was talking to that was underage had their age in their bio, like we were talking about earlier. So it was very clear how old they were. And he would message them and say, like, message me on Snapchat. So now there's a bunch of pictures circulating of him sending them all this stuff, being like, show me your body hair. That's come out. James Charles has a body hair fixation. And honestly, he still had a sponsorship with Chipotle until last week. Same thing with David. Everybody, Chipotle dropping everybody, I guess.
Is that the
and
Morph?
he's still in affiliation with Morphe. And they're still like promoting his stuff like on their main page of their website right now. And he is literally a child predator love. How is that okay? Like what? And also I feel like rather than just like the power dynamic or him having money to be able to get out of this, I feel like it has a lot to do with the fact that he is, number one, a flamboyant gay man. So he's kind of, his femininity is kind of protecting him. And I also think that since they're male victims, they're not taken as seriously.
There you go.
That is definitely true. And I feel bad any man who's the victim of any sort of sexual assault, because it's funny, I was reading earlier today, they're saying that side effects from the COVID shot are women are having more adverse reactions to it, but they're also saying that men are grossly underreporting it, which just seems like a stupid kind of guy thing to do, right?
I got time for that.
Guys are so stupid, and I think this is just another good example of exactly that, just how dumb we are.
You think so?
Yes.
Like him reaching out to these young kids, or them not like not enough guys going about it the right way, like reporting it.
Again, well, like you said, I mean, I think being gay, there's a certain protection to that, right? You're supposed to be supportive of the homosexual community, but nobody means that.
Yeah, nobody means predators.
Nobody means a gay rapist who's right. So again,
gay pedophiles. I don't give a fuck if you're gay.
Like, this is the problem. This is the problem with society, where it's like, wait, can we not criticize that guy? Why wouldn't we? He's a criminal. I don't care what your sexual orientation or your skin color is. If you break the law, you go to jail.
See, and this just proves their fucking theory of shared bathrooms bullshit. You can get a guy like this to go watch your little son go in the tinkler at the same time.
Well,
so it doesn't really matter.
I feel like that doesn't. That has nothing. It like really has nothing to do with like the shared bathrooms. You know what I mean? It's like they could. Yeah, I probably did, but
he was making a joke. Again, it's the idea of nobody would think twice about letting that guy in a men's bathroom.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is like,
a trans man walking into the bathroom would be what?
Right. Like, what's the difference? Yes, exactly.
Also, here's what I say all the time about that, not to get off topic, but the first time a trans man attacks a kid in a bathroom, we're all going to hear about it, and we're going to know that guy's name. And the reason you don't know his name right now is it's never happened.
Exactly.
So let's stop freaking out about problems that we can only anticipate and deal with ones like this that are literally actually happening and that we've been literally arguing about and trying to figure out for 20 some odd years.
Yeah. So this is a PSA. If your kid is watching James Charles, probably put a stop to that. Also, David Dobrik, just educate your kids that is not okay. And even if they are your favorite influencer, whatever, it doesn't mean that they can get off scotch-free. Because the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, just like address, because I feel like we might get like came at for this. This is not supposed to be like an episode where we're like, oh, cancel all these people, because there is a huge difference between cancel culture and people committing crimes. Like, there is not a problem with holding people accountable who need to be held accountable. That is not cancel culture. That's people literally who should be in jail. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I'm pretty sure if you go to jail, you probably can't do your show anymore.
Yeah, but like that's what's supposed to happen.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so obscene that these people are just getting off scotch-free, and all these people are like, oh, stop trying to cancel David, or stop trying to cancel James, or like you can't cancel this person or whatever. It's not about that. Like, this is not it. When it comes to a certain point, it's not cancel culture anymore. It's literally these mother lovers should be in jail. So yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Well said.
But anyways, thank you so much for watching. You can catch us next week, Mondays at 8. You can also catch Rob's show, I'll Piss You Off Shortly, right after this. Also, if you want to catch up on our other episodes, more politics related and stuff like that, you can catch us on clovercrestmedia.com/dividedwestand. We're also on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the whole shebang. So leave us a review, do the damn thing. Thanks. Bye.
All the tea.
The Closing Time Podcast is back, sponsored by Rocky Hill Accountants. I'm Joe Aguirre. I'll have a brand new co-host, Sanam Salati, who's my broker, my mentor, and my good friend, and one of the most knowledgeable people in Connecticut in the entire real estate industry. We're going to be talking about the latest goings on. We'll keep you up to date on the market, and we're going to bring on some really great guests all throughout this season, people in all different fields in the industry, like accountants, home inspectors, mortgage reps, and so much more, just to give you a better understanding of the Connecticut real estate market. We're so excited for a brand new season of the Closing Time Podcast, part of the CMG Podcast Network. It's sponsored by Rocky Hill Accountants. Go see Heidi and Glenn Parchman to file your taxes for bookkeeping, business advice, real estate investments, or whatever your accounting needs are, including cryptocurrency. Just visit RockyHillAccountants.com. We'll see you all season long on the Closing Time Podcast.